Welcome to the Crawcast. I'm your host, George Krawczak, and today we're looking at the top 5 draft needs for the Green Bay Packers. So, coming up, since the draft is in Green Bay, I figured let's look at what are the top 5 positions of need. And if you like this type of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button like at OG Money. I do Packers content, Lions content, NFL content in general, as well as wrestling content. So, now let's get started. So at number 5, I have the pass rush position or edge defender. And the reason why I have this at number 5 and I see everyone else has it so high where it's like this is one of the top needs for the Green Bay Packers is because I'm not 100% convinced that they don't have the right people. So again, I'm not in this list of players, I'm not really including backups because if a fifth or sixth round pick produces, that's fine. But we're really looking for those star starting players, and backups, you're not really expecting much out of them, anyways. So in 2024, last year, Lucas Van Ness had 22 tackles, 3 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. Plain and simple, he did not play well. He struggled a lot. He played fairly decent run defense, but in pass rushing situations, he struggled a lot. But I give him a little bit of grace because it was only his second year. His rookie year, he basically didn't play, and this year was an extension to a learning year. And brand new defense, brand new scheme, so I still think it's a little bit early to give up on him, considering he was I believe the 13th overall pick in the draft, and I do think it's a little bit too soon to officially call him a bust. And then Rashan Gary, I also did not think he played up to expectations. And he played 17 games as well, and he had 47 tackles, 7.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble with 1 fumble recovery. He was just average. He had a couple of decent games, but overall struggled to generate pressure by himself. And he's a little bit different because they are paying him a lot of money to be one of the top tier pass rushers in the NFL. And he simply just was not good last year. I can't explain it. He just wasn't. He did not live up to expectations and definitely need to see a lot more out of him because at least you have a little bit of an excuse with Van Ness saying, okay, it's only his second year. His first year he barely played, and this feels like more of a developmental year. And yes, Rashan Gary was learning a new scheme as well, but just as a veteran, as a guy who's being paid tons and tons of money, he needs to step up. And honestly, it could have just been a down year because the year before he tore his ACL, but he was looking really good, and the year before that he was looking great. And overall, he has been a top tier pass rusher in the NFL and has looked really good. Just last season, he struggled immensely. And so I don't necessarily, I think this is a need, obviously, if these two do not step up, but I think they are capable of being decent players. At number 4, I have the cornerback position. The Packers currently have Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine, Jaire Alexander, and Nate Hobbs. So the reason why I have this at number 4 is because if this is the group, I'm pretty comfortable with this group. I think this is a fairly decent and pretty good group that can hang with the best of them. My biggest concern is if Jaire Alexander doesn't is get traded or released or something like that. Because I think Nate Hobbs, Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine, I think they're all average to above average corners. And I think you can live with that if you have a great corner like Jaire Alexander. Because I trust these guys to cover almost every single player in the NFL. But if you want Keyshawn Nixon or Nate Hobbs or Carrington Valentine to match up like with the top corners like Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or someone like that, I think they'll struggle immensely where they need someone like Jaire Alexander. So in 2024, Jaire Alexander played 7 games. He had 16 tackles, 2 interceptions, and a touchdown and 1 fumble recovery. Keyshawn Nixon played in 17 games. He had 61 tackles, 3 sacks, 1 interception, and 3 forced fumbles. Nate Hobbs in 2024 played 11 games. He had 0 interceptions. He had 49 tackles. And then Carrington Valentine, he played in 15 games. He had 2 interceptions and 32 tackles. So again, overall, I think this is a good group and I'm content and I'm perfectly happy with this group starting if Jaire Alexander is involved. If Jaire Alexander gets cut or traded or something like that, then it feels like Green Bay definitely needs somebody to help be the number one corner, and they need to draft someone to be the number one guy. Although all these guys are locked up in their contracts for a bunch of years. Like you have 4 years of Nate Hobbs. I think you have 2 or 3. I think you have 2 years left of Nixon, and you have 2 years left of Valentine. So these guys are locked up for at least a few years, but I definitely want one of the number one corners if Jai Alexander is not on this team next year. The next position I have is interior defensive line, and the two starters are Kenny Clark and Devonte Wyatt. So the reason I have this is because you definitely need replacements coming up because Kenny Clark is getting old and he did not have a great year last year. I think you potentially being in a new defense, you can blame that a little bit where it's like, okay, is this more of an outlier where he just had a down year instead of is just not that great of a player anymore? But also at the end of the day, he is 29. You do have 3 years left on his contract, but he's played a lot of snaps. He is getting old, and you do need to look for a replacement. And then Devonte Wyatt, he's definitely has not lived up to his first round pick expectations, and he has 1 year left on his contract. So you definitely need to start looking for a replacement to him because he just has not been that guy yet. So last year in 17 games, or Kenny Clark played in 17 games, he had 37 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 fumble recoveries. Whereas Devonte Wyatt, he played in 7 games. He had 12 tackles, 3 sacks, and 2 fumble recoveries. So overall, just neither of these guys played great last year. It felt like they struggled generating pressure, and also I think that can be blamed a little bit on Lucas Van Ness and Rashawn Gary also not playing well. But overall, you need to start looking towards the future because Kenny Clark is not the future, and Devonte Wyatt feels like he's not the future either. So this is why I have it at my number 3 spot because they definitely need to get better on the interior defensive line than what they have right now. And even if they draft and develop a guy and have him be a rotational piece, that's fine. Because there's always room for more defensive linemen. Like it feels like an interior lineman, you need at least 3 to 4 capable, decent starting guys. And right now, neither of these two are it at the moment. At my number 2 position, I have linebackers. And I think this is definitely one of the biggest needs for the Packers. Because typically you have 2 starting linebackers on the field at all times. And with Jeff Hafley's defense, he likes to add a third in there occasionally. So right now they have Edgerrin Cooper, Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie, and Tyron Hopper. So right now, Edgerrin Cooper looks like an absolute stud. But it's his rookie year, so he's still getting acclimated to the NFL, and the NFL's getting acclimated to him. So I feel like we definitely need more him to prove it for more than 1 year to definitely say he is the guy or not the guy. Right now he's looking like he is the guy, but we just don't know because we have too small of a sample size on him. But pairing with Edgerrin Cooper, you need at least one other person. Quay Walker, he's just not it. He has 1 year left on his deal, and he's had some decent games, but overall he's been far too inconsistent and played far too, terrible games to be seen as the future of the franchise. And right now he's just not it. I think Quay Walker will be done with the Packers after this year. And then you have Isaiah McDuffie. He just signed a new 2-year deal. I think he's a good backup. He's definitely a good backup, but he's just not a great starter. I think it's one of those things where, again, Isaiah McDuffie's not going to do anything wrong, but he's not going to do anything great. And if Quay Walker or Edgerrin Cooper get injured, I think he is definitely a great number 3. You just don't really want him to be that guy, and he's really not that guy. And then Tyron Hopper, we just have no idea what we have in him because he is a complete unknown. He's a complete mystery. He hasn't played at all. So we can't definitively say he's great, can't definitively say he's terrible. We just don't know. So looking at the stats is Edgerrin Cooper played in 14 games last year. He had 1 interception, 2 fumble recoveries, 3.5 sacks, and 87 tackles. And then Quay Walker, he played in 9 games last year. He had 72 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and that's it. And Isaiah McDuffie, he played in 10 games last year, had 57 tackles, 57 tackles, half a sack, and that's it. And then Tyron Hopper, he played in 17 games last year and had 9 tackles. So overall, nothing really too great other than Edgerrin Cooper. Again, Edgerrin Cooper, so far looks like a stud, but it's just too early to say. You need to show way more consistency than just 1 year to say you are the guy and you are a stud. But other than Edgerrin Cooper, you definitely need another person to step up and be that guy, whether it's Quay Walker or Tyron Hopper. And at number one, I have wide receiver. This is definitely a major problem for the Packers because it feels like everyone plays a role decently well, but no one is definitively that guy. They need someone like a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson or Amon-Ra St. Brown, where Jordan Love can have a go-to guy every game where it's like, okay, no one's open. Here's someone I can kind of throw the ball to. And also, you're struggling for the future because right now, Jayden Reed's fine. You have 3 years left of him, 2 years left of Wicks, 1 year left of Dobb. And then I left Christian Watson out of this because Christian Watson's going to miss almost all of next year, and his contract's up after next year, as well as Dobbs' contract up after next year. So far, none of these guys played that great. Drops were a major issue. And it's tough because it felt like these guys individually had a couple of good games, but overall did not play that significantly well. And they just need to step up. And it's tough because last year everyone said that they need to step up. And to me, Christian Watson is like the only one of true wide receiver one potential, and he's out for the next year. So they definitely need somebody who can step up, be a wide receiver one, and can just be that guy and have 4 years of rookie contract and hopefully, again, like I said, be that guy. Last year, Jayden Reed played in 17 games. He had 857 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns, 163 rushing yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. Dontavian Wicks, he played in 17 games. He had 415 yards and 5 touchdowns. And Romeo Doubs, he played in 13 games. He had 601 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. And so, like I said, Jayden Reed is more that shifty gadget player and more of a slot guy, and he does play that role pretty well. I definitely think he's the best at that role. Although he has occasionally struggled with drops, it felt like defenses kind of locked in on him and dared someone else to step up, and no one did. Whereas Dontavian Wicks, great at getting open, drops are a major issue. He just can't catch the ball. And there's really no solution to that other than, I guess, just practice and play better. And I believe in Dontavian Wicks, but my belief is really fading because he just struggles with drops, and that's just a major issue with him. And then Romeo Doubs, I think he has the most consistent hands of the group, but again, he also struggles with drops quite a bit, and he doesn't have the speed to get open. He doesn't really run routes that great, but he is a big jump ball guy, and out of all these guys, I think Doubs is the closest to a wide receiver one that you want, kind of more the jump ball, throw it up if no one's open guy that you need to have someone that you trust. But none of these guys are that great. I think all these guys are great receiver twos and maybe receiver threes, but none of them are a receiver one that the Packers need. So number one, I think, is wide receiver. So that's my list of the top 5 draft needs for the Green Bay Packers. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this type of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. I'll see you on the next one.